I'm Karyn and I'm here with Kelly. And today we're going to be talking about the top myths that grieving people need to stop believing. So we're going to each share a little bit. I'm going to start first. I think, Kelly, the first thing I'd want to talk about is timelines. I think there is a tendency that people have to think that they should be at a certain place, that a certain amount of time has passed. What I say to that is, not to pay attention to the date. I know it's part of our story, but our losses are present losses. If you're feeling it today, you're being impacted today. It's not a past event. It's something right here in the right now. How about you? What's a myth you've heard a lot?
My favorite topic to talk about, not to believe the 5 stages. They need to go away forever, or the 6 or the 7 stages, or however many people are up to now. But the 5 stages are not accurate. The 5 stages were developed in 1969 by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and they were for people who were actively dying, and they've actually never been proven. There is no proof that they exist for people who are grieving, and it can make people feel like they're doing their grief wrong. So we really need to move away from this stage model and use more appropriate models that are evidence-based, researched, and actually valid.
Yes. Well, especially the way it could make people expect it's supposed to go in a certain order. And even that acceptance stage, I think, may be impossible for some people. So, yeah,
exactly.
Totally
And acceptance, agree. I think accepting the reality is an over and over again thing. We can feel like mentally we accept it, but what does that look like 10 years down the road?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. One I wanted to talk about was the nature of the relationship and how it can impact the grief. Again, a lot of this is about expectations, kind of like what we're talking about in all the myths. And I think sometimes we think, like, let's say there's a loss of a parent, and with our siblings, that we're all going to grieve the same way. We all lost the same person. We should all feel the same way. But the nature of the relationship is what's going to determine that. I think along those lines, too, is also the fact that sometimes a person can have a very bad relationship with a person and mourn them and grieve the relationship they never had. So I've heard people that maybe didn't have a great marriage and their friends are almost expecting them to be relieved, that he's no longer here. And it's like they don't know the half of what this person is grieving because they're, grieving all the things that could have been better or didn't get to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think, and each loss is so different, right? And so because each relationship is so different. So yes. It can look very, very different. And I think sometimes we have these expectations, I'm supposed to be feeling a certain way because I've had this loss, but that it might be different than a previous loss you've had.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. What about you?
And then the last one is grief isn't just emotional, right? It can be pretty physical as well. I think all of my grieving clients have issues with their jaw. Either they clench or they grind. They have TMJ. We hold so much tension in that jaw. So it could be something as physical like that. It could be back pains. It could be all of a sudden some mysterious, different kinds of illnesses. We're more vulnerable to illness when we're grieving. It could be stomach aches, headaches, trouble breathing, all sorts of different things that grief can really impact us physically. And we don't always make that connection and understanding of why we're feeling this way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, people often do get sick after, they describe just overall not feeling well. And it's that understanding that grief is sadness, but it's so many more things besides. So, yeah. Yep. All right, Kelly. Well, thank you. I think this is important stuff, to remember, again, coming back to expectations and to be realistic with what your experience is going to be the most important thing. Follow your instincts. All right. Thank you. And if you have anything that you want to hear or anything that we can talk about, let us know. Leave a comment. We're here to make these videos for you. We want to know what you want to know more about. So thanks, Kelly.